Today, before we begin this story, I want to ask you for something simple. Take a deep breath and listen with your heart. Not as someone who already knows the ending, but as someone experiencing it for the very first time. Because the story you are about to hear is not only about what happened, it is about what changes within us when hope seems dead, but is not. It was still dark when it all began. The night resisted giving way, as if the world itself struggled to move forward after what had happened. Jerusalem was asleep. The streets were empty. The silence was heavy, almost tangible. 3 days earlier, the sky had darkened at midday. The earth had shaken. The veil of the temple had been torn, and the body of Jesus had been placed in haste inside a cold, borrowed tomb, sealed with a great stone, as if all hope had been buried there with him. For many, the story ended there. The Master was dead. The one who spoke like no one else had ever spoken, who touched the untouchable, who looked into the eyes of the rejected and called them by name. The one who promised life was now wrapped in burial cloths. The disciples were hidden, doors locked, voices lowered. Fear hovered over every thought. The future, once so clear, was now covered in a thick fog. They wondered where they had gone wrong, if they had believed too much, if everything had been nothing more than an illusion. The silence of God felt too long to endure. Meanwhile, at the break of dawn, some women walked toward the tomb. Every step was heavy. They carried no expectations, only spices. They were not going to witness a miracle. They were going to care for a body. It was the last act of love left when everything else seemed lost. Along the way, a question followed them, quiet and unsettling. Who will roll away the stone? The stone was large, impossible for them. But when they arrived, their hearts nearly stopped. The stone was no longer there. The tomb was open. What they felt was not immediate joy, but fear, confusion. Emptiness can be more frightening than death itself. They entered. They looked. The place where the body should have been was empty. Only the burial cloths remained, carefully placed. There were no signs of theft, no signs of haste. Something was different. Suddenly, 2 figures stood before them. Light seemed to fill the space. And then the question that would echo through the ages was spoken. Why do you seek the living among the dead? It was not merely information. It was a rupture. Jesus was not there. He had risen. Death could not hold him. The tomb was not his end. What looked like defeat had become a silent victory. The women ran. Mourning turned into urgency. Pain now had purpose. They had to tell others. They had to announce it. The impossible had happened. The disciples heard the news, but hope was still fragile. The pain was too recent to allow faith to rise. Peter ran to the tomb, the same Peter who had denied him, the same one weighed down by guilt. He entered, saw the claws, observed the emptiness. Something stirred within him. Not full faith yet, but no longer despair. Mary, however, remained. She wept. The empty tomb brought no immediate comfort, only more questions. She bent down, looked again, and then noticed someone behind her. A man. In her grief, she thought he was the gardener. If you have taken him away, tell me where you have laid him. Then he spoke just one word. Her name, Mary. In that moment, everything was revealed. The voice that cast out demons, the voice that calmed storms, the voice that said, "Do not be afraid." It was him, alive, present, changed, yet the same. Tears turned into reverence. Death had been defeated, not by force, but by life. Jesus sent her out, no longer only a follower. She became a witness, the first to proclaim that he lives. That summer day, 2 disciples were walking toward him. The road felt unbearably long. They spoke of disappointment, loss, and broken dreams. A stranger joined them, walked beside them, asked questions, listened. Explained the scriptures with depth. Their hearts began to burn, though they did not yet understand why. When they arrived, They sat at the table. The bread was broken, and in that familiar gesture, their eyes were opened. It was Jesus, alive, and in that very moment, he vanished. But faith remained to run back. The night no longer mattered. Hope does not wait. That evening, the disciples were gathered again, doors locked, fear still present. And without warning, he stood among them. Peace be with you. It was more than a greeting. It was restoration. He showed them his hands, his side. The marks were still there. The resurrection did not erase the scars. They now told the story of victory. Amazement mixed with joy. Guilt began to loosen its grip. Fear lost its power. Jesus breathed on them. New life, renewed purpose. Thomas was not there. When he heard, he doubted. He needed to see. He needed to touch. Days later, Jesus came again. He did not condemn. He did not pressure. He simply invited. Put your finger here, dubbed surrendered. Faith was born. Grace triumphed once more. The resurrection was not just an event. It was an eternal turning point. Death lost its authority. Fear lost its dominion. The end was no longer final. From that morning on, human history changed. Not because pain ceased to exist, but because it no longer had the final word. When the stone was rolled away, it was not only the tomb that opened. Hope rose. Life prevailed. And nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be the same again. And perhaps, as you listen to this story, something within you is being touched as well. Because the resurrection does not speak only of an empty tomb in Jerusalem. It speaks of everything inside us that feels closed, heavy, without a way out. It speaks of fears that paralyze us, guilt that follows us, and hopes we buried believing there was no more time. If Jesus overcame death, then no night is eternal. No pain is final. No story is truly over. If this message spoke to you, allow it to continue echoing. Carry this story forward. Share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you wish to keep walking through these stories of faith, emotion, and depth, stay here. There are many more stories waiting to be told, and perhaps to be lived. I say goodbye for now, wishing that the peace of the one who conquered death may be with you. Until the next story.